Why do you work so hard but only make a little money? Why do some people make a lot of money easily? Because the people who do things make a lot of money. The people who do things make a lot of money. The people who break the rules control life. Our life is almost in all kinds of rules. You don't do things. You don't break the rules, you will be the pawn in other people's game. Welcome to the Thought Awakening. Your wisdom guides people today. I will share with you 3 ways to break through your thoughts, so that you can also have your own life one day. Live the life you want. About the content of these 7 broken thoughts. See more to give you a deeper understanding. Arouse your inspiration. So I suggest you give it a thumbs up first, so you can find it from your playlist. It's not a mistake. Obama's old house. This is the smartest way I've ever seen. Do it by your own unique thinking. Let the body and the armor turn a few times. After reading the following story, you will realize the real difference between the male and the female. Obama has been living in Chicago before he became president a long time ago. You will realize the real difference between the male and the female. Obama had been living in an old house in Chicago before he became president. After becoming president, he took his family to the White House. When I just left home, Obama said to reporters that I love Chicago. When I'm full, I'll bring my family back. This little interview made Obama's neighbor Bill happy. Bill has always wanted a chance to get rich overnight. Now the opportunity has finally come. He sold his house to the middle class. It cost $3 million. Bill thought that due to the president being a neighbor, a selling point like this, the house will be very strong. However, after the house information is released, but no one is willing to buy. To make it clear, Bill read the message below the sales information. Many buyers worry about their lives in the future. Uncensored will be under strict surveillance in their lives compared with the president as a neighbor. They don't want to lose their privacy and freedom, so they finally chose to give up after a long and unbearable suffering. Bill was heartbroken. Then a young man named Daniel found him and said he was willing to spend $1.4 million to buy his house. Bill agreed without thinking about it and signed the contract. When Daniel got the house, he converted the house into a house worth more than $3 million with his own thinking. Success or loss. Daniel's character was transformed into a kindergarten. The children's parents all want their children to be able to go to school in an extremely safe environment, so the more surveillance around them, the safer it is. Children's schools have also been named the safest kindergarten in the United States. It attracted a lot of rich people to send their children in to save the poison because it was too popular. Daniel also sold the outside walls of the kindergarten. It attracted countless advertisers to bid. The same house is in the hands of different people. Value has changed from day to night. This is the advantage of thinking. The reason why the poor can't make a lot of money, it's because of the 3 main elements below. If you can get together, you will definitely be able to turn around and pay quickly. The first is the lack of thinking. People do it when they are alive, and people think of it when they are rich. The more people work, the more poor they are, and the more thinking people are, the richer they are. Why can many people only do small business, but not do big business? Why can many bosses open small companies, but not be able to make enterprises strong and big? It's because there is no real thinking about sitting in a position, only considering the small benefits in front of you, but not knowing how to see the future and set a big picture in the future. For example, why do people in Western countries? You can live a happy life with very little labor, and many people in many countries do it day and night. But you can only get a warm treasure. That's because the Western countries are in charge. They established a system, and the most critical resources in the system are in their hands, so others can only do the labor and their work. For technology is the bargaining chip of the West. As long as the technology is in hand, you can let the system become the biggest beneficiary of the game. So the master never relies on doing things to make small money, but rely on things to make big money. If you want to do a good job, you also need to know how to borrow and integrate other people's resources. This is the smart man. So the job must be comprehensive, never because it's small or large, and not just for the small benefits in front of the eyes. The great thing must have a big pattern, a big chest, a big temper to achieve the end. As the saying goes, the little one in trouble. In order to achieve great things, you can make a sacrifice. As long as you can keep the God's perspective at any time, you will definitely achieve great things. 2. Lack of awareness. A person will never earn money other than his own awareness. The job must be done within your own ability and professional scope. This is undeniable. The more you are open and broad-minded, the more you can be light and easy to use. You must make a certain industry to the extreme, not to mention the white market. and not to be too much of a burden. The more you are open and broad-minded, the more you can be light and easy to use. You must make a certain industry to the extreme, not to mention the wide market, and not to be too much of a burden. The more broad your thinking, the more broad your work can be. The work must be done in a certain industry to the extreme. On the contrary, you can only make a big money by doing a big job. I don't believe you can see what you can really make a lot of money. Often people who have done the best in the industry. 3. Lack of insight into the power of business. When you know a certain level, slowly have the eye of the insight into the business. As long as you find the right wind, even a pig can fly on the wind. So make a big deal, make a lot of money. Must have enough insight. Successful people to make a big deal. You have to have enough insight. Successful people saw the business opportunity of the internet and took the opportunity to do business to achieve their own business empire and create the name of the city. In short, making a lot of money is not easy, but not as hard as you think. As long as you have the top 3 key elements, must be able to turn over 100,000 rich people. Kidnapped 100,000 rich people were kidnapped by 4 robbers into the mountains. Do you think he still has a chance to walk out of the mountains in peace? If you don't have the heart to learn, less don't know how to do it, then you can't live. But if you are a man of great character and good at strategy, you will survive. The car stopped and Richmond's eyes were blinded and his mouth was on the tape. I could only hear the call of various animals around me, and it was obviously the old forest deep in the mountains, and no one would hear it even if it was called life. After the car got off, 4 people stood in a row and threatened Richmond with weapons to make him pay honestly. As long as the money is in place, he can let him leave safely. Richmond is also clear in his heart that if the robbers plan to let him go, he will not let himself see their appearance and will not bring himself to this old forest of mountains until the rope on the rich man's body is untied. Very cooperative. The wallet handed out 3 cards. Inside each card has 4 million. As long as you get this money, they can retire 4, followed by rich. And the stock software to open said that their hands and value of 30 million stocks. But the problem is to make these stocks at least 1 or 2 months. Even if you tell them the password, you can only take 20,000 at a time, and the money will be seen by the surveillance camera after the robbers heard "Let your wife go and collect the money" to count you. Richmond's answer: I have 10,000. Even if I'm gone, they can also inherit inheritance Uncle Rich for the rest of his life. So as long as they get the news, must be the first time a big alarm. By then, you are really in vain when you hear this. The robbers are not to be hungry, have to do it. Richmond quickly explained, you're afraid I'm running away. I have a way. As long as I have a life on my hands, I can eliminate your worries. You don't have to be afraid of me calling the police, the robber said. Where do you find people in the high mountains at night? Richmond said, don't you have 4 people? As long as you sacrifice 1 person, you can completely control me, and you can make more money. When I heard that, the 4 robbers gave Richmond a big reward. But calm down, what the other side said was very reasonable. One side is tens of millions of cash, a lifetime of not being worried about eating. One side is the life of a brother. It's really hard to take. Richmond's words are like a nail, it's in everyone's heart. I can't sleep at night. They are all guessing each other. Even some people dare not sleep at all, afraid of becoming a victim. On the contrary, Richmond has tens of millions of thick stews, eat and sleep well, not worried at all. In the late night, finally, someone is in high pressure. They both started to move, then the 4 of them began to fight each other, dead wounded. The next day, Richmond was found and walked out of the mountain without any problems. Instead, 4 robbers stole a chicken and put it in a trap. Many people are curious how Richmond killed 4 robbers and escaped with a tie. In fact, he just said one thing. This is the famous Kantian Bureau. Of its underlying logic is to create conflict and divide the other party inside, from which to create a situation that is beneficial to oneself to achieve the purpose. The essence of this game is mainly in the following 2 points. If it can be flexible, it can be easily set up. The first one is to be able to use human nature. In the story of the last book, Richmond saw through the human heart and used the human nature to kill the 4 robbers. Richmond took advantage of the human greed and used only 1 sentence to stimulate their most primitive side. On the one hand, money is on the other hand. Brothers are indomitable, and they have to make a choice to make them suffer. Human nature is not able to withstand the test, and finally greed obviously overcomes the feelings in the heart. The rich claim to sacrifice a person to exchange tens of millions of gold. This is actually a seed of suspicion that was actually in the heart of the 4 robbers, but a thorn planted the seeds of suspicion. Once a person's heart is in doubt, if it can't be solved, it will be unbearable. If you don't think of an answer, will always be trapped by it finally. The four people are under high pressure, finally can't resist, choose to do it. In fact, when you manage the team, you can also use this thought. The subordinates are clashing, the Panther squad is against you. Under such a situation, the law is not heavy. Handlers can be fully aware there is only one position to manage so many people under the hand. It is impossible for everyone to be more ambitious, since so they will definitely be, because of the division of interests, disagrees interests. Once conflict is triggered, it can easily destroy allies, so that the purpose of the idea of each opportunity to achieve the purpose of the will. The second is to be passive in the story. Richmond is the most passive side, even life-threatening, if it's not his clever calculation of the robber's mind combined with good conditions. If he didn't cleverly calculate the mind of the robber and use it cleverly under the condition that it was useful, the agency would lure him into a fight, and he would be passive, and he would be able to sit on the stage, and I am afraid it would be really hard to escape the sky. The most smart place to do the job is two places. He knew that money was the biggest weakness of robbers, and he had the opportunity to fight. If you don't hand over your money, you have the opportunity to struggle and fight to save your life, but once you hand over the money, it will lose value. Wait for your death. In addition, it is smarter to use money to break the dead. Let the situation lead to yourself. This is the high point. If you can't see the key to money, it is very likely that rich people will be buried in the mountains and old forest. In short, as a smart person want to be a bureau, whether it's self-defense or a strategy or the city, you have to know how to plan and do it. Well, the secret of making money, this is the best talent bureau I've ever seen. As long as you master the mystery of the face, anyone can make a full pot. In the knowledge of many people, McDonald's is just a restaurant. Make money. It's not. After McDonald's set fire to a restaurant, will sell the restaurant to the first of all. He earned the profits in the restaurant. There is also long-term supply of material money, but this is just a small part. Will sell the restaurant to the as McDonald's was left. The number of customers was increasing, and the street was lively and extraordinary. A business street is impossible to be at McDonald's, and it will definitely need other stores. So McDonald's began to rent the store in hand to collect rent. So McDonald's restaurants are just a tool for McDonald's to keep. It's just a tool to lure the money they make. It's not just the money from the restaurant, it's money that makes people blind. For a real master of gambling, making money is not by working, it's not by making a difference, it's by gambling. Masters often can move to other people undiscovered business opportunities, secretly grasp, must be able to win. Before they started the business empire, most people don't understand their business model. I don't understand their layout. Some people even think it will collapse soon, so the real player often try to make money. Other people don't know the reason why ordinary people and masters have a huge difference. It's all because of the difference in thinking. Next, I will give you an analysis of why the ordinary cannot make a lot of money, and the master can make a lot of money. The key is the difference between the following two kinds of thinking. The first is the ordinary thinking. Those who take a smooth thinking almost have a common feature in the face of difficulties. When you take on a task you have never done, or when facing new people, they will be very resistant. It's hard to face, it's easy to push the cart. The ordinary often uses the resources and experience they have in their hands, habit, to measure the standards of new things. See if he is within his ability. Once you give him a slightly larger goal, they will say it's impossible. But it's not easy, it's not easy. They will say it is impossible. Either you only see the target of the tactical level, can't adapt to the needs of the strategy, or only see the strategic goal of making money, ignore the needs of social needs and life values. Generally speaking, the mediocre often have the following for common thoughts. You want to succeed, make big money, do big things. That's it. You can't do 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 it. In general, the mediocre often have the following for common thoughts. If you want to succeed in your job, make a lot of money, do a lot of things, you have to be determined to read the line, I'm not starting to deny myself first, I'm sure I can't do it. I know very well how much I am worth. This is the psychological state and pretext of most people, only to comfort themselves. Many ordinary people are limited to their familiar things. This kind of unselfish, the ordinary who dare not face the challenge, is destined to be unable to get out, give up easily. The ordinary will give up easily as long as they face the wrong. They will give up easily, do anything, almost always shallow, never deliberately seek goal to do in-depth research if the work is not patient enough to be a thing. See how many people in their lives have given up their lives when they were studying, no matter how difficult they encounter. They will never retreat and will not give up if you put in so much effort. No one will rest assured. Lack of independent thinking and systematic thinking. Many users often only look at the surface of analysis problems. The idea is very narrow, not good at innovation and learning. But once you stop innovation, you will be eliminated by the market in the same way. The team loses progress and innovation is inevitable by the market. Cold fall. Unreasonable thinking. Many mercenaries are easily controlled by instinct and intuition. For example, only consider yourself convenient. No matter what others do. When you gain power, not willing to take risks, but when faced with loss, everyone has become a blind adventurer. From this can be seen the gap between the mercenaries and the rich. The most important thing is in thinking. As long as you can change your thinking, will gradually approach the opposite of rich and rich, even become one of them. After saying the mediocre shun thinking, now let's talk about the second rich man's counter thinking. A person wants to make money by sitting down to change his life. Then you have to get rid of thinking. Learn counter thinking. Successful people are all based on the counter thinking family. A person's true growth is the transformation from thinking in a smooth way to thinking in a counter thinking way. What kind of counter thinking? I'll give you an example. In the early last century, an African country discovered a gold mine in the West. A large number of people started to run away from gold. Some people were rich overnight. Some people had nothing to lose, paying the family property. A regretful position. There is a smart guy, young and strong. Don't go digging gold. Instead, he started a business. He opened a wheat cloth in the mine area, especially for selling food and drink. Because African gold is very hot, after sweating must quickly replenish water unexpectedly. The small fire wheat cloth is completely on the local fire. This avoids the workers from eating enough food. Can't drink pure water awkwardly. From this can be seen to do this well, be sure to understand these two elements. Break the thinking. As the saying goes, it's not good to break it to succeed. You first have to break the existing thinking pattern. You can't follow the original idea, and you should intentionally start with the result. Gradually push and drag. Follow the flow. Which step should go where? Clearly and very easy. Many people don't know how to do it. Hard to succeed. It's because you overestimate yourself. You can't do it. You can't do it. It's easy to understand where to go and where to go. Many people do not know how to do it because they think too much of themselves. Don't be a frog in the well. You should be a dragon. Walk more, see more, accumulate more experience. Prepare for the future. The best of the best. The biggest feature of the idea of reversal is that it can be unexpected, yet a shock to another opponent. For example, McDonald's is on the surface to make money for the restaurant and the material money. There are also coincidence fees. It's actually to make money. In short, what others can't think of, you can think of. What others can't see, you can see. This is the absolute advantage. It is also the key to your success and making money. In short, once you fall into the right thinking, fate is coming back, often cut by people, and the opposite thinking can make you a real person, become a master, become a winner in life. These are the 3 stories of broken thinking. Thank you for watching. These are the 3 stories of broken thinking. Thank you for watching.